The Ugly Duckling. It was a warm summer day in the countryside. The sun shone down on a quiet little farm nestled beside a peaceful pond. The tall grass near the water, a mother duck sat patiently on her nest. She had laid several eggs and was now waiting for them to hatch. One by one, the eggs began to crack. Peep! Peep! Came the soft little sounds as fluffy yellow ducklings poked their heads out and looked around at the big new world. The mother duck was very pleased. But there was one egg left, the largest of them all. It hadn't hatched yet. The mother duck waited, and finally, the big egg began to crack. The loud snap, out came a large gray bird with a long neck and big, awkward feet. The mother duck stared. "Oh dear," she said softly. "You don't look like the others at all." The other ducklings peeped and waddled around, but when they saw their gray sibling, they stopped and stared. "He's so big," whispered one. "And so strange-looking," said another. The poor gray duckling tried to join in their games, but the others laughed at him. Even the chickens in the barnyard clucked and teased. "You don't belong here," they said. "You're ugly and awkward." The mother duck tried to defend him at first, but even she couldn't understand why he looked so different. Soon, the poor duckling felt so sad and unwanted that he ran away from the farm. He wandered alone through fields and forests. Autumn came, and the wind grew cold. The duckling came across a little cottage, where an old woman lived with a cat and a hen. They took him in for a while, but the hen teased him, and the cat said, "You don't know how to purr or lay eggs? What good are you?" The duckling felt lonelier than ever. He left the cottage and faced the cold winter alone. Snow fell, lakes froze, and the poor duckling struggled to find food and shelter. He hid in reeds, shivered in the cold, and wished only for the winter to end. When spring finally returned, the sun melted the snow and warmed the earth. Flowers bloomed and birds chirped again. The duckling, now bigger and stronger, stretched his wings and flew for the first time. To his surprise, he soared easily through the air. He came upon a beautiful garden with a large pond. Swimming there were the most magnificent birds he had ever seen. Tall, graceful swans with shining white feathers and long necks. The duckling stared at them in wonder. "I wish I could be like them," he whispered. "They are so beautiful. I am still just a poor, ugly bird." He crept into the water, thinking the swans would shoo him away. But to his surprise, they welcomed him. He bowed his head in shame, expecting to be mocked once more. But then he saw his reflection in the water and gasped. Gone was the awkward gray duckling. In his place was a graceful, beautiful swan. He was one of them, not an ugly duckling, but a swan all along. The other swans circled him happily. People came to the garden and admired his beauty. Children threw breadcrumbs, and the once lonely bird glided proudly through the water. At last, he understood. He had never been ugly. He had only been growing into what he was meant to be. And so, the ugly duckling was ugly no longer. He had found where he belonged and had become more beautiful than he ever dreamed. The end.